Yeah, forgive me, this trade happened like 5 hours ago. No, not 5 hours ago. I was thinking like 8 hours ago, and we slept through it. I say we, I mean I. I actually slept at like 9 a.m. last night, or this morning, and woke up at 4 because that's what happens when you get back from a trip. Sometimes your sleep schedule takes the hit. But we had ourselves a trade between the Edmonton Oilers and the Ottawa Senators that could be seen as a pretty big failure when you talk about the assets that are getting moved. But when you think about the assets that are coming back in, this actually is a pretty okay move, and it's one of these trades where, for both sides, you can make the argument as to why they ended up making it. So, here is our trade. The Ottawa Senators have acquired prospects Xavier Bourgault and Jake Chiasson in exchange for Roby Jarventie and a 2025 fourth-round pick. Simple trade, not that big of a deal. It's just kind of, okay, 2 assets in, 2 assets out, a bunch of prospects getting swapped around. What is the dealio here? Well, part of the reason you'll see people clowning on the Edmonton Oilers for this trade is because they traded away Bourgault, a guy who was a 22nd overall pick back in 2021, and most notably, a guy that the Edmonton Oilers took instead of Jesper Wallstedt in that draft. Now, CapFriendly is gone as a website, so we can't actually see, like, the trades and everything that were connected to these draft picks, but the Edmonton Oilers actually had themselves this 20th overall pick that was used to select Jesper Wallstedt. The Oilers then traded down. Minnesota went up to 20. They got Wallstedt instead, and Bourgault, who went to the Oilers 2 picks later, was the next guy. And a lot of people were like, wait a minute, the Oilers need goaltending. They had the opportunity to draft a franchise goaltender right here at number 20. Why did they trade down, and why did they not get Wallstedt? Now Minnesota's got him. Thanks a lot, Edmonton. So that was always the thing that people were clowning the Oilers for. Oh, Bourgault was not that good. Bourgault was not that franchise goaltender. Okay, now he's gone. Now he's in Ottawa. Jake Chiasson is also getting added on here too. We'll talk about these prospects a little bit later, but just to get the scoop out of the way at the beginning of the video, out of these 4 assets, the best one is Roby Jarventie, by far. The Oilers are getting the best player, the best prospect, and the most projectable name into the long-term future in this trade, and it costs them 2, let's just say, B-ish caliber prospects, maybe B-, C+ if you really wanted to be harsh on these guys. So let's go out there and talk about what it is the Ottawa Senators are getting here. Xavier Bourgault, 21 years old, center, 6 feet, 172, right-handed guy, drafted, as we had said, in the 22nd overall spot in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. Bourgault made his bread and butter with the Shawinigan Cataracts in the QMJHL as a draft eligible, with 20 goals and 20 assists in 29 games played. As his career went on in the QMJHL, he really showed off that goal-scoring ability. He's always been more of a primary goal scorer in his junior days. 36 goals in 43 games played and 75 points. A lot of Oilers fans were kind of saying, hey, with Bourgault, with Dylan Holloway, with Carter Savoy, there's a good cast of goal-scoring prospects in the system. But for Xavier Bourgault, after making the AHL's Bakersfield Condors in 22-23, he ended up actually declining after that. He had 34 points in 62 games played in his first season, and only 20 points in 55 games played the next. He just did not have that same oomph to his production, nor his goal scoring. So a lot of people were kind of down on him, especially when you think about Jesper Wallstedt and what he's been up to with the Minnesota Wild. You know, Oilers fans are not going to live that down, and a lot of fans of other NHL teams are not going to let Oilers fans live that down either. But now Bourgault, who still has, I'd say, maybe third-line scoring potential at the NHL level, maybe 10 to 15 goals a year if he's lucky, is going to be in the Belleville Senator system. He'll be working in Ottawa, hopefully trying to make that team sometime in the next few years. He's going to be going alongside of Jake Chiasson, 21 years old boy from Abbey, so just down the road here where I live, 6'2", 187 right-handed guy, a little bit bigger. Also a draft pick by the Oilers, 2021 4th-round pick, 116th overall. And you can see here that from his development, he wasn't really like a super highly productive WHL scorer. I mean, he did have 18 points in 20 games with the Wheat Kings in 21-22. That's the year after he had gotten drafted, so not really the best to see him under a point per game as a draft +1. But the season after, he did try to round that out a little bit nicely. 28 points, 37 games played. Again, not great, but then 30 points in 33 games with the Saskatoon Blades in the regular season. Also maxing out at half a point a game in the playoffs. Not really the most productive guy out there, but he did have himself some AHL samples this previous season. 1 game played, 0 points. He had spent the majority of his season, though, with the Fort Wayne Comets in the ECHL. Again, production was not great. 68 games played, 20 points. You can see here in the scouting report that Chiasson uses blade deception and off-puck timing to fire away threatening shots in scoring position. On occasion, he makes a perfect time move into the slot or fires a shot that might give goaltenders trouble. What happens if I click this? The EP Rinkside Guide. Okay, no. It just had a download thing over here. But either way, Jake Chiasson, even if you talk about the point production, he still is a valuable player. He still is a guy that does bring a lot of intangibles to the game. He has good hockey sense, he's got good physicality, but he's not going to ever produce a whole bunch of points. Honestly, I don't really know what the Ottawa Senators see too much out of this guy, but hey, they've got something cooking up for him, so that's why they traded for him in this deal today. Let's head over to the other asset that was involved in this trade that we can talk about. Not the 2025 4th-round pick, but Roby Jarventie heading over to the Edmonton Oilers. This is a really good name here. 21 years old, 6'2", 214, left-handed left-wing guy, drafted in the 33rd overall spot in the 2020 draft by Ottawa. Oh yeah, you can see all these names are trending here on Elite Prospects. Yeah, I wonder why. They all just got traded. But Jarventie, man oh man, Jarventie, he was a pretty capable scorer in the Mestis and in the Finnish Liga, especially as a junior player, but eventually starting out and working his way in the Belleville Senators system. 33 points in 70 games, 30 points in 40 games, 20 points in 22 games. He just got better and better. He even had a small cup of coffee with the Ottawa Senators this previous season, 7 games played, 1 point, and that was an assist. He's yet to score his first NHL goal. But really, for Roby Jarventie, this is a guy who has bolstered up his stock in a really good way, and you can read the scouting report over here. He anticipates play well in the offensive zone. He scores a lot by having a feel for where the puck is going to be next. He can pull off some pretty impressive moves while playing at full speed, and consistently displays good habits by keeping the puck close to his frame. This is a very lethal offensive player who has found a way to get things together in the AHL, and if it's gotten to a point where he might have wanted out or the Ottawa Senators didn't really see much of a fit for Jarventie, a team like Edmonton is going to really value that kind of a profile, especially if Jarventie is good enough to make the NHL this upcoming year. If he gets a third-line scoring role at 21, 22 years old, he pots in, let's say, 10 goals, 10 assists in his first NHL year, and then works his way up from that, this could be a very good steal of a trade for Edmonton. I really like Roby Jarventie as a player and as a prospect. He's been fantastic the past few years, so the fact that they were able to get away with it by trading Bourgault and Chiasson, I think that's a pretty good win. I mean, Bourgault was getting worse in the AHL. Jarventie was just getting better. And you add on the Jake Chiasson player who was just in the ECHL this most previous season, and you have a tough time really figuring out where the Ottawa Senators are coming from in this trade. But realistically, if they see more value out of Bourgault and Chiasson, if they think that these guys have more to give at the AHL levels and eventually the NHL levels, then hey, all the power to the Ottawa Senators to make this trade and to send over Jarventie and a 4th-round pick. Who even is the Oilers GM at this moment, man? They're cooking. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this trade between the Senators and the Oilers. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.